Hello everyone, my name is Vel and today we have a return of the men. Men here are two Oden's Eye lore gods from the northern mythology, and they are from the collection Luminous and Shadow, which was released initially like a couple years ago probably, but this is like an addition to that collection. These are new shadows, new format. Not exactly a new format, but it's 15 shades palettes. Two of them you kinda want to choose your side, your man, your crush. If you're interested what it is, why am I doing a video on that, if it's better than previous releases, how to work with that, what do we have here, and this makeup included, then big thanks to Oden's Eye. And let's begin our video. So we are back. This launch by Oden's Eye seemed interesting enough for me and I decided to actually do the video for it. So we have the two palettes. I'm starting with the first with the Luminous Shadows palette. And we will dive into this color story. It's finally looking normal to me. It has a logic. It has a lighting shade, it has a darkening shade, it has two distinctive color story, one's being peaches and one being purples. So I don't see much of a problem here, to be honest, and I think that should work normally. Finally it should work normally. I'm really hoping so. And we will probably start directly. I want to touch first the shade called, it's very hard to read the text here, Soft Dawn. Soft Dawn is a peachy beige, and I will just place it at the beginning of the eye into the crease area and just start blending it outwards to see how exactly it behaves. And then we are having either light to dark or dark to light without many problems. I have MAC Multi-Sculpt underneath as my base, so we will not face too many problems with the blending in general, I would say. So I will go directly into the shade Horizon. Horizon is a darker brown, and I think it should look just fine in here. I don't like the brush I took, but to be honest, I just didn't wash my other brushes, so this is what I have to do right now. And I'm just applying it to the outer third of the eye in the V shape, and it blends normally. Finally, we have something that actually works and that doesn't make me cringe like crazy about the quality. Maybe we are getting back to something good, you know? Maybe we are getting back to the Oden's Eye when it was still good. So let's continue. Then I will take the shade Sundown to blend next. So I'm doing the basic gradient here. It doesn't have to be anything very specific. We are looking at how the mattes work together in this color story. So the Sundown next, they blend normally. I don't have any problems at all. I don't have much of a fallout even. So something definitely changed in this palette. And then I'm going to the shade Heartbeat. Heartbeat is very bright peachy tone. Like this is one of the accent color, I would say, in this palette, and I'm applying it almost to the inner corner, but not exactly. So this is going to be just my one of the shades basically here. You will not see it under the shimmers later, but for now, since we're doing the matte base, I think it's very nice to see this kind of things. And then I will go into the shade Lilac Mist because I want the inner corner to be lilac. It's just something additional in this situation. So I'm blending everything outwards with the shade Soft Dawn. Also Lilac Mist should go slightly under the brow, not too much, but just to place it there kind of. And look at these mattes. So they are fine, they are working fine, they are looking fine. I have no idea what happened at some point, I have no idea what changed now, but it feels normal. So this one doesn't give me a cringing feeling because at some point I was really not feeling it anymore, and the latest launch from the spring I actually skipped as a video for YouTube. I still did some content with it, but I so much disliked one of the shades, the green one specifically, which didn't want to blend on the Makeup by Maria base, on which everything should actually blend, that I decided to just not do it. I didn't want to go for it for the whole video because I was not feeling good about the whole launch, and unfortunately this is just the reality. So now we are getting back to something good, and I think we are ready to go into our shimmers. So with these mattes, we have a frame, they work together nicely, they blend together nicely. You can leave it like that, you can leave it in the frame of mattes, but we can also do our shimmers. So I will start probably with the shade Morning Dew. The shimmers here are not very oily, so they're not very emollient. Only some of them feel a bit more soft, some feel a bit more crumbly. This is normal for the textures, but they are not presenting themselves as something super emollient, which is also nice. I like that. So the Morning Dew goes into the inner corner. This is just the highlight shade for our purple. This is not going to do anything else. Then we have, I would say, 4 shades for the warmer tones and 3 shades for the cooler tones. I think I will get to the shade Flare. I have Flare versus Amber on my fingers, so the Flare one is the duochrome, at least the duochrome, and I think I will place it all over the lid just to have it, let's say it like that. And this will become my main lid shade, and the shade Amber will go onto the bottom lid because it's not as interesting. It also has some sparkles, like duochroming kind of sparkles, but not too much. And the shade Flare is actually duochroming, even multichroming probably, because I see something yellow in there as well, besides being orange in the base and green in the shift. So then we have 2 more shades. One is Golden Rise and one is a Champagne Bliss. So Golden Rise I think I will place on top of the brightest peach, so at the second part of the eye out of the inner corner. And then you have this part of the eye, so I'm gonna place it there like as a lighter yellow kind of. And then we have the Champagne Bliss, which I have no idea where to place. It's already overwhelming amount of shimmers here, but let's still do it. The shade the shade Champagne Bliss goes under the brow, just a swipe under the brow, and that's gonna be it. I'm pretty okay with that. I like the mattes kind of more. I don't know what to say. I kind of like the mattes more here right now. The shimmers are interesting, but also not too special probably. They also cover up the mattes pretty much. So I think I will need the brown liner here, just to have a brown. Everything is so warm and brown, and I will come back to you with the finished result. So this is my fairy whimsical makeup. I even unleashed my butterflies, which I initially bought for the Heather Austin collaboration, but I ended up disliking the matte shades in it and very oily shimmers so much that I decided against doing the video. And it in itself, this is a sign, honestly, because if I don't want to spend time diving deep into something, it's either not worth it, too small for me, or it's just bad. That's just how it is. Yep. But the makeup look is wonderful. You can see the multi-chrome. You don't see it in the palette. You don't see shifts in the palette at all. Like, these pans are not showing anything, even in the mirror. You cannot see the shift. It's like you can see slight something, yeah, like yellow, okay, yellow, but this one is multi-chrome into green, green, yellow, peach, orange in this scenario. I think it looks wonderful, and as a main lid shade in this look with the mostly browns, like they are warm browns that you can use, it works. It just works. I also wanted to point out that 2 distinctive color stories per palette is wonderful. This one also allows to do the nude makeup because you have basically the browns and the peach, and you can also do the cool toned somewhat nude makeup, or you can use this shade, which is like burgundy, as a liner, and then you can have like a shimmer on top. Everything works. So I see the logic in this palette. I can confirm that the mattes were really good in blending. They don't give me any troubles. They still have some pigment, like not the huge amount like Bella for example, but decent amount of pigment. They were blendable, they are working. And the shimmers here, I think there are 3 textures actually, maybe 2, maybe I'm wrong, but I will figure it out with the time throughout this review. But so far I see the super smooth ones like this one and maybe this one. Then we have the shimmering particles. It's also quite smooth, but probably not as smooth as this. Very soft but not emollient. I digged into it already with a finger when I was swatching. So this one is soft as well, but this one is like tiny sparkles all over. So you have a smooth more for multi-chroming properties, and you have this for like a scattered little sparkles, and the same goes for the crumbly shades. So they are also soft and crumbly, and they are also kind of sparkles. So you get quite a sparkly texture at the end. And none of them is super oily. Good mattes, not oily shimmers, and the palette that makes sense. This is quite a shift in something that happens to Oden's eye. I got some pleasure working with this palette right now. I did not think that it will be cohesive or like interesting in general because of how shades are organized. It seemed very pastel-y, and on promo photos it's not looking interesting at all. And when I swatched it, I understood that actually it has some logic in the shades themselves. So you have a lightening shade, you have the darkening shades, and you have in-between shades which you can mix and match however you want, with some shimmers that also look good with this color schema. To be honest, I'm pretty pleased right now. I feel kind of mood increase almost, because I feel good about the makeup, I feel good about the work. I don't have any struggles, I don't have any problems so far. It looks good, it works good. I feel like a fairy, a bit hot, but I still feel like a fairy. Yeah, that's just about it. I have the brown liner in number 69 by Inglot as my liner today, and I used the color case by Mitchell in the shade, I don't know, Blossom probably, to do my waterline so that I can have like a matched peachiness in here without overpowering the lilac shade. And I also attached cluster lashes because this flattering clusters just look so good with this whimsical kind of makeup. My lower lashes are covered with a brow gel in platinum pretty much. So you have like, if you have platinum brow gel, it's usually very yellow on eyebrows, but it looks super good on lashes. So if you have something like that, it's not super white, and white looks different, but beige, like these beige just look so good. I think I'm really loving it. Yeah, what else do I have on my face? Full face of Tarte Shape Tape concealers. Today I felt so good about Oden's that I even unleashed some other products that I have that I bought myself a long time ago. And this is a Soulmane blush in Pink Bloom. Pink Bloom looks like this, one of the most wearable shades from the blushes they have. Very pigmented, but still very wearable. Funnily enough, I had like 4 maybe applications of this shade and it still looks like new. So not swiping, but tapping onto it, and looks great. My contour today is the Wolf Woman Luperca by Shelby. Then I also used Shadows Blusher Glow Powder in D101. This is like a double-sided. It used to be double-sided, but it actually just like it was split with the sparkles on the top, and now when you're mixing through it, it just becomes one color. So I think it's a duochrome highlighter. You can see probably that there is some yellowness happening in it, and then there is some blue happening in it. So yeah, yellow and like lilac blue, something like that. And this one is my highlighter today as well. Then I have unleashed pretty much also the glosses that I got from Oden's last year. So last year collection was very big for the summer, and I just decided to pair everything so I can have like more or less mono brand stuff, because I didn't use it for quite a long time. I don't have like too many applications for it, but anyway. So Rosy Peach number 780 by Miss Thais. This is my liner. I outlined on top and at the bottom, so I don't usually extend anything in the corners. Corners stay as they are, but I overline slightly on top and at the bottom. Then I applied a clear gloss, this one is not exactly clear, but still clear. This is a plumping gloss by Too Faced. Lip Injection Maximum Plump. To me, this one is not nasty, so I really like to use it. When you are plumping your lips, you are basically motivating blood to come to your lips. So that's enlarge them, and it also kind of makes them smoother. So if you use plumper before the application of the lipstick, for example, it will be just a bit more full in my vision, in my experience at least. Then once I was done with the clear gloss everywhere, I decided to go with the Latte Lily. Latte Lily gloss is basically kind of a brownish gloss, brownish red, and I applied it in the circle, just the circle. Leave out the corners, apply it as a circle, and then I used the Apricot Whisper, which is an orangey one, like very orange as well, just in the center as a line. And then just smack your lips like you've never done before. And this is what I got. It's pretty simple in terms of the look, but I think it looks nice. Everything just matches. I also have the neon-y outfit today. It's a mesh for raves, I guess, but I just bought it for sitting at home and doing some looks in my room. And this is the final result. I feel truly like a fairy. I don't know if you had such things in childhood, but I had such things in childhood and they were traumatizing at some point, but now I'm just a bit nostalgic and that's why I'm using it today. But that's so far it. I am pretty happy. The blush also, I forgot to mention, the blush I applied in the sunburn technique. So everything that is a cute, fantasy-like, anime-like, or like cartoonish to me is the application of a sunburn blush. So basically you apply it from the cheek centers in the pattern of the freckles. So you have this area completely kind of sunburned, and this creates the cuteness. That's why a lot of anime characters, for example, also blush on the nose, and so this is how to achieve this result if you're ever interested in that. So yeah, that's so far it. I'm pretty happy with everything. I am enjoying this, and I think I need to just film a couple of things and then be done with this look at least. I may do another look. As I said, we're going to switch and we're going to try the Mystic Gleam next, just for the interest of kind of switching between them, because we have 4 color stories and I want to do one, and yeah, that's the idea. I wanted to show you this. This is a custom palette that my husband made for me. I bought an acrylic sheet. He has a CNC machine and he tried to make this for me as just a big palette for like displaying basically. This 2 rows here is the new Terra Moons eyeshadow that are Space Candy collection. So there are 14 eyeshadow in this Space Candy collection. You can see they are pretty much a rainbow. And I wanted to ask you if you will be interested in eye swatches as a YouTube video, or it will be enough to have the short and as a additional text image kind of guide, because I'm not sure. I did not think that maybe somebody is waiting for my video on these shades. This is also Terra Moons. These 8 are also Terra Moons, and these are Touch of Glam Beauty. So this row is only Touch of Glam Beauty, and the others are Terra Moons. Yeah, just let me know if you will be interested in the video about that, because it's quite some amount of shades, I would say. But yeah, so far that's it. Pretty happy with everything, and I'm gonna just do the other necessary things and come back to you to do another makeup together with another palette. So we have another palette to try because I want to switch a little bit. This palette is called Mystic Gleam. It's cooler toned palette, more in the greenish sides, and I actually really like how it looks. So we have this color story. I see pretty much we can create something gray, something green gray, something green blue, something blue purple. But today I want to focus mostly on gray and green, and then something in the blurple direction will be next most likely. So we will have pretty much 2 looks. One is a warmer purple and one is a cooler purple, which is okay to me. It doesn't matter that much. So I will start with the shade Amber Abyss. This is safer, it's medium shade, and I can probably fix it easier than if I go to black directly. So this one will be the blending shade for the halo eye. I'm outlining the shape of the round. It's more like a eye of a toad, basically, that I'm going to make. And the Amber Abyss I'm also taking to the bottom. I'm outlining my bottom lid with it, just going outside of the main area. Then I will go with the Nightfall Obsidian. This is a black shade, pretty much. It's more like a black blue a bit, but you don't notice that, so we call it a black shade. This is going to be blended mostly on the outside area of the eye, and then I switch the brush and gonna blend a little bit to the inside. I'm trying to keep the shape more or less rounded so that it's kind of outlining my eye in a nice way. Eyeball, so to say, and I'm just trying to blend things here and there with the black first. Then I think we will go into the Haunted Forest, a very nice green, like a teal color. We will go onto the inside with it. I'm using synthetic brushes because right now, as far as I remember, with the original formula of Oden's, it doesn't matter which brushes you're using, so it's totally fine. And I am just applying it towards the center, leaving the very center open. Yeah, then I will probably go to blend a little bit. So I'm taking the Ashen Mist and go outside areas because, yeah, basically we need to blend things out with the gray and blend things in with the green. That's the idea, at least, of this makeup look that I want to create. And so let's focus on that. And blends normally, it's a bit too light of a gray, but it still works. Like, everything is still quite decent. I don't see any problems, I don't have any problems. It doesn't feel like anything problematic, really. So that's the good thing, and I am pretty happy right now. Then I think we can go into our somewhat white. It's called Shadow Stone, so it's a gray, very light gray, basically. I'm placing it right into the center, creating this eyeball effect. Don't forget about the lower lid, you do the same stuff in there. And then with this very light gray, I'm going to blend the very, very edges of the gray itself so that we can have it there. You don't have to be very precise, but it's nice to have a nice matte frame for anything that you're creating. And as you can see, they blend normally, they don't get stuck, they seem to be workable, which is what we are searching for usually in the palettes. So that is pretty good sign in my opinion. Then I think we're ready for our shimmers. We have the very interesting shade Eclipse Dusk. This is a how's it called? It's not marmor. I'm forgetting words. Marble. It's a marble shade. So that shade is very interesting, but I'm not sure if it fits because this one fits more to the green-blue story, so you can mix from one to another. I think this palette allows that without problems, and the color story makes sense. So this really makes me happy, to be honest, because I like when things make sense. So anyway, I think I will start with the shade Poison. With the shade Silver Shroud. Silver Shroud goes under the brow. That just directly under the brow. I don't care much about this. This is just what I'm applying to the outsides. Then I will go into the shade Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy doesn't seem to give me any multichromic properties, at least I don't see them directly, so I am placing it on the outside of the halo eye, not in the center, just on the outside where the darkening is happening, so that we create kind of a duochrome effect ourselves. And then we have the actual duochrome shade, which is called Gleam Shadow. Gleam Shadow is going to be my center of the eyelid on top of the light gray, and this will create an effect of this eyeball and also of the duochrome. Very nicely applied, not too much, not too little. You have a lot of them being on your fingers when you apply with fingers. So if you will apply with a brush, it's probably going to be a bit easier. So I don't think this shade should give any problems with applying with a brush. And the last shade is Eclipse Dusk, which I think is okay in here, finally. So I'm gonna place it onto the bottom line. So bottom lid is just outlined with that. And this is what we get. This is what it looks like. I think it's kind of fun, kind of interesting. I do enjoy the shades in general here. I'm pretty okay with that. I think only I want the black liner. Since we have somewhat black shade in here for the darkening, I think it will be okay with the black liner. After that, I will do the second eye and come back to you. Finished result. Excuse my fluffiness of the hair, but this is the makeup look I came up with. This reminds me a lot on the lake mermaids, especially because of these lenses. It's very hard to see in them because the opening is so tiny and I cannot really see through so many things, so it's obstructing the view a little bit. So yeah, and they're supposed to be gray, but I think they look a bit like a zombie. Maybe it looks better on somebody else, but on me this is kind of the situation right now. But anyway, that's what we have with this palette, and that's what we have with the shades. I find it quite nice. I don't think any of the shade is truly special. We do have a little bit of duochrome in the center, but it's not that noticeable. We also have nice scattered gray under the brow. I like that it's like small sparkles, just like a pixie dust sparkles. And the same situation with the bottom lid, where we applied another shade that is marble shade, and it has lots of green and blue tiny sparkles. So looks cute in my opinion. So this we have no difference in the formulas. The difference is in the work with the brushes. The bigger brush, the easier it actually is working, because you can just swipe it on bigger areas. When you're working with the smaller brushes, of course, you will face a little bit of either misplacement or more in one place, and then you have to compensate, but you don't have the opportunity to use bigger brush. This is just this shapes sometimes that happen. So nothing about the eyeshadow that is wrong here. They are blendable, they are applied normally, so I don't see anything that is actually like going out of hand with this blending. Like, it's still looking okay. Everything still looks fine. The shades here, the same situation. The mattes, I believe, the same formula pretty much, and I think the shimmers are also pretty much the same formula as well. We have this marble shade, which is like colored sparkles. We have this duochroming shade, because you can see it blue and green at the same time, but you see blue on outside of the light and green on the light. So it does duochrome, but it just feels weird. We have this shade, which is quite intense. It doesn't duochrome into anything, I believe. At least I don't see it like that, and it's a bit more like a sand. So not really crumbly, not really anything, more like a sand. The thing I noticed with these shades, this one and this one and this one, if I bring it closer to you, maybe you will notice it as well. So where I touched it with my finger, it kind of absorbs the oil from my finger and becomes like this. You see, like it's a one surface, very smooth, and at some point, the more it accumulates the oil from the fingers, the more it will become like this, and it can become a hard pan. So this is how hard pans are happening, and this is what you can avoid by using a fresh brush each time. So of course, on one application, one brush is enough and it's okay, but the next time you will touch the shade, you have to use a fresh brush, or you have to use a silicone brush that you wipe clean, or you need to take a tape and remove this. So this is a hard panning. It happens in a lot of different formulas, not even eyeshadow, like in many other products as well. If you face this situation, you should know that it's a hard pan. You can remove it with sticky tape. So you just place the sticky tape and remove it, and do this a few times until you are happy with the result. But yeah, this is just a possibility of hard pan developing because of the nature of these shades. I did not notice yet so much in the other palette, but this one is very clear because maybe I touched it in such a way. So maybe my fingers were still a bit sticky from like residue of the skincare and stuff. So that's possible, and that's why it's happening. But other than that, I think the eyeshadow themselves are pretty good. I also like that it has a few color stories that kind of work together in the circle. So you have the grays and neutrals in general. So you have a darker gray, this middle gray, and light gray for the neutral story. Then you basically have a bit of blue in this. Then you have a bit of green in this. You have a bit of also kind of green. This is like olive to me, and this purple, so they work through greens, green to blue to purple, then to light purple, then you can go to the lightest, and then you have darkest. So it kind of works like this in the circle, so for me, from my vision at least. So it does make sense, and I really like this change in Oden's eye, because before it was also totally okay, then at some point the shades were not really working with each other that much, and now they are working again. So that's a good sign in my opinion. So I'm also pretty happy with this look. It's kind of a bit too green, like it's generally green, right? But it has a bit of a gray in it, and it looks nice, and it was blended nice, and I'm just okay with that. Even though it's already 2:40, I have to sleep as soon as possible, so let's wrap it up for today. The face didn't change much. I applied the same pink bloom as my blush, but I changed the highlighter to the Subtle Radiance. This is also from Luminous and Shadow. This is this looking highlighter because it's also, I think, duochroming kind of, and it has a top layer as well, but it's nice and cool toned, and I think it fits to this look greatly. And on the lips, I have the two shades. So I used the Huda contour in brown, like toasty brown or something like that. Then I applied a Tony Rose. This is a kind of mauve rose brown, something like that. So it's more brown, but it also has a rose undertone to it. And I apply glosses right now like a circle, as I said in the previous time as well. So I try to avoid the very corners because it drips into them, and everything may get really messy if the glosses drip into the corners. And into the center I applied little Jasmine 3. So this is more like a caramel color, so the light caramel, you know, the caramel apple, when the green apple is in caramel, this is kind of what it reminds me of. And the other one reminds me of the dark caramel. So yeah, I think I want some caramel now, and that was pretty much it for today. I think we will return with the Luminous Shadows again for the purple look, and then with another purple look for the other palette. That's the idea, at least. Of course there are more possibilities and things, but I'm just gonna focus and try to finish up as soon as possible as well, so you can get this video not too late after the release. Yeah, so far that's it, and I will see you very, very soon in the next clip. And it is me again. We are coming back to our purple shades of the Luminous Shadows palette, reminding you how it looks, just that you can visualize a bit better. And then we will go into the Lilac first. Lilac Mist is the first shade that I'm going to take, and I'm applying it pretty much all over the lid. This is going to be my main shade in this scenario. I want something lilac-y, like truly lilac-y, and I think that will work really nicely here. Then I will go into the darkest shade in this area, which is called Terracotta. Terracotta actually belongs to the warmer purples. So we have two purples that are in warm area and two that are in cold area. I think we have seen that in some other palette. Probably Artitude Muse is what it reminds me of. So just so you know. So I'm applying it to the outer edge and just blending slightly in the corner shape. So I'm not gonna go towards the crease too much. I'm just gonna do the corners, like a stretching basically of this whole scenario. And then I will go into the shade Skyline. Skyline is cool purple. So we have a mix here. The two cool purples and two warm purples that you can work with. And this one is actually very pretty. I'm applying it on top of the terracotta just because I don't want it to be that warm in this case. So that's gonna be fine for me. Next, I will go into the shade Lavender Aura, just so I can touch it as well. It doesn't mean that the shade actually looks bad somewhere here, and I'm just applying it as a mix in between, kind of to mix it in the area. But I think this one will work wonders with the terracotta shade, and the other one, Lilac Mist, is with the skyline. So at least there are a couple of things that I can see directly. This gives me joy. Okay, then I will go back to the Lilac Mist a little bit to kind of blend things together a bit more, and my lower lid is also blended with the Lavender Aura and Lilac Mist. Then I will go into the Soft Dawn with the pretty much fresh brush, and I'm just gonna apply it and blend the edges of this whole makeup look with it so that I can have more or less clean edge. Once I'm done with that, I think I want to add a small element in the front, and this will be done with the skyline first and the tiny pencil brush. Then once I'm blending it outwards, I think I will go into the terracotta. Same brush, I'm just reusing this brush here. Terracotta will be the next one. It will give me a bit of a warmth for purples. Then I will go back to the skyline and blend everything at the end with the Lilac Mist. It's all using the same brush. I'm just using the cleaning sponge for this brush and applying it like that. Nothing too bad, nothing too special either. I think they work nicely together. And we can go into our shimmers. In this range of purples, we actually have 3 shimmers available to us: the Stardew, Morning Dew, and Periwinkle Cloud. So I'm taking Periwinkle Cloud. None of them actually has a shift. It's just sparkles. Periwinkle Cloud is going to be my outer half of the eye. So I'm applying it there. It's slightly crumbly, so it's more of a sandy texture with a bit of a crumbles. And the Stardew is very soft and more smooth texture, which is also like multicolored sparkles. This will be my first part of the eye from the inner corner up till the center, and I'm trying to mix them together in that area just to have it a bit more nicely blended. And I think the Morning Dew, which we actually also touched in the previous makeup, I will apply onto the bottom lid because we have something differently purple in there and it kind of binds things together, so I don't mind that. At this stage, I think I will only need a liner. I'm not sure what liner I'm gonna bring in here. Maybe I will do some graphic liner, maybe not. Let's see. But overall, I think that looks good in itself and it works nicely. So I may finish up in here and I will come back to you with the finished face. And here it is. Once again, I feel myself very whimsical, very fairy-like, because this palette also gives me a lot of the fairy, airy vibes in general, because I think it's just the airy palette, like a light related. Well, Luminous Shadows. Luminous and Shadow, I think it's a collection that Oden's Eye has, and these two are just addition to this collection. So now we touched pretty much all shades, and I can confidently say that we have 4 good color stories to work with. You have a neutral color story. The peach and brown will give you something absolutely neutral. Then you have bright pink with the darkening brown orange. So these are all working together also nicely. Then you have dark purples in warm, dark purple and lighter purple in warm, and the same situation in cool purples. And then you can slap any shimmer on top of that and you will be good to go pretty much, because this is quite good. I thought that's gonna be much more pastel-y, not as pigmented, for example, but in fact that works nicely. With the darkening, with the lightening, everything is just nice. The shimmers, the only problem I had is I applied a bit too much of this shimmer onto the other eye and it started to go into little creases on my eyelid, but it's nothing like too critical. As you can see, It's like this fabric that I've explained in one of the videos. Basically, when you have like a shimmering fabric and it goes into the folds, these folds look like something can be missing in there, but when you are stretching the fabric, it's all the same fabric. Because it's a semi-transparent base and you have creases on the eyes, this kind of gets the same effect sometimes, and this is what can happen with such shades on transparent base. So this is nothing wrong is generally with these eyeshadow. They blended normally. They even look cohesive within the purple range, even though ones are more like warm and the others are more cool, but it still kind of looked really good, and I enjoyed the matte look as well. I'm starting to think that maybe I need to introduce like mattes separately as a schema and then just slap a couple of shimmers on it and yeah, go with my day basically. I mean, just to show it in such a way that you can have one frame and two different looks based on how much or which shimmer you choose with that. So maybe it's a good idea, maybe not, I don't know. Maybe you can tell me something about that. And yeah, I just want to know your opinion, because I think makeup schemas in terms of the mattes as a frame is a very interesting concept in itself. I think everybody pretty much starts with a matte and then only moves, and shimmers are just another variable. So you can create tons of things with the same amount of shades. You can create tons of schemas and they will all look different at the end depending on what shimmer you will place on top. And like, I'm just thinking about the possibilities of like more educational kind of stuff, but it's not actually educational, it's just a showcases of things and possibilities in such a way, because then I can show one matte frame and a couple shimmer options for it. That will also increase the amount of looks kind of that you see throughout the video, and the finals will be a bit more full. Maybe, I don't know, maybe next one I should try it like that, maybe not. I have no idea, to be honest, what's gonna be next. Like, I have something to swatch still, I have some stuff to work with, but I don't have like a bigger launch or collection in my hands right now that I can just start confidently filming the next video. So I'll probably take a small break after this one and come back to you closer to July with something else. But for now, I think I'm pretty happy with everything that's happening. I'm just generally enjoying that. And the only thing that I've added is the white liner. So I took the white gel liner, I added the separation line between the darkest and the lightest shade in here, so I can separate this kind of into two. And I added the same line extending on the outer edge with the waterline in it, so that you can have a bit more interesting kind of look. So you can blend the normal schema as usual and then just add these separation lines and you get something completely new, completely like more interesting looking. And this is what I also like about this stuff. That's just works in such an unexpected way sometimes. When you look on unfinished makeup, it may not give you good feelings, but then you continue, you commit to it, you add the missing pieces, and boom, everything just makes sense now. The same I feel about this palette, because everything makes sense now. I feel pretty good about it. Like, nothing bad is in here, really. Like, some nuances, but they're not as catastrophic as it was at some point. So yeah, I'm just genuinely enjoying this makeup and how I look as a fairy. Yeah, feeling my whimsical self, as I started to say. Other than that, what else do I have on my face? I used actually the 78 Inglot eyeliner, which is grey. I love grey liner. Grey generally looks so good with everything. Then I have a Tarte Shape Tape as a concealer. Sephora contour stick made a comeback. I used it again. Then Kaleida's Dream Walk as my blush today, because it's slightly like, it's cool pink that goes like in this direction, and I think it looks very good in this makeup. Then I used also Oden's Eye Star Legend highlighter. So I bought it quite some time ago when the Soul Mane 2 collection went live, 2024 I think. So this is the highlighter, so it's pink and it's lilac and it's yellow, so it's a duochroming highlighter, and I thought that this will be very fitting to this whole thing, and I think it does fit. Then on my lips I have NYX Lip Lingerie in Wild Side. This is a purple gray lip stain liner. So it's a very thin applicator, and you can create quite thin lines with it. But I recommend to draw the line and blend it with your finger. Then you have a bit better look, in my opinion. Because sometimes the very sharp line doesn't look that good, and this one kind of creates a shadow, like a very cool shadow. And on top of that, I applied Citrus Camellia, which is also Oden's Eye launch from last summer. So Citrus Camellia, also something more neutral, I would say. On the lips, I could have used something pink, but I don't have in Oden's something pink. So I try to, you know, utilize the products I already have with them, so that I can, get the use out of them. Yep, so far that's it. And I'm pretty happy with everything. I think it looks really good. And I am doing a happy dance. I think I have some package coming to me. If it's what I think it is, then I will also include it into this video. If not, then I would have to do a post separately. But we gotta see. So yeah, so far that is it. And I gotta go. Tomorrow we will touch together the Lost look with the Lost palette, and then I will come back with the final thoughts. But for now, wait for me and I will come back. So this is the Lost look that we are going to do together. This is a reminder how palette looks, and we are only left with like purples and blues in here. We have like 3 shimmers probably left to touch, and yeah, just a few mattes. So let's start with the light blue. Eternal Void is the one that we are touching. I'm going to place it into the inner corner and drag a little bit onto the lid. This is going to be my mixing shade, so inner corner to the mixer. Then I will take the shade Midnight Sorcery, very nice purple, and I'm going to place it to the other side of this whole situation and start blending. So as you can see, they can blend into each other. There's not so much troubles with that. However, to make the blending better, you will have to use a non-synthetic brush. So I have this goat hair brush that I'm gonna utilize in this scenario, and I'm gonna dig into one shade, then into another, and mix them together. So I'm also mixing basically on the brush itself and between themselves. I encountered some problems before with such shades when we were working with other things, but right now, as you can see, they are indeed blending together. Even though I used pretty much the same type of the brush, and I used the same amount because I don't change the pressure with which I dig into the eyeshadow, so nothing really changed, but these ones are mixing with each other nicely. And the other ones that we touched previously in some other reviews of this brand were not mixing. So I'm very happy with the current ones, as you can see, and I'm just clearly showing that something is working or not. In macro, when you are judging by yourself, it's very hard to miss that something is not working or working. So in my opinion, the blending is totally okay, totally fine. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna leave the purple also on the bottom lid a little bit, but not too much. And then we can go into our shade Nocturnal Abyss. This is a darker teal, and I think it actually belongs to greens more than to these ones, but it's totally fine to use here as well. I'm gonna use it as kind of a liner here with a little bit of dragging into the crease, but not too much, like just a tiny bit. So that will be the idea of this look so far, and I'm gonna place it to the bottom lid as well, and I am going under the blue in the inner corner. So that way I'm just kind of overlapping one over the other, so the blue will stand out anyway, and I will get the effect of erased eyeshadow with the blue ones, so that inner corner is a bit more prominent, more bright. Then I will take the shade Shadow Stone. It's a gray one. I'm just gonna use it for blending of the edges, and once blending of the edges is more or less okay, I can return back to the Eternal Void to bring it back a little bit more. This shade slightly disappears after you apply it, so freshly applied it's a bit more vibrant and prominent, and then it just kind of goes somewhere. This happens. The disappearance of the shade is a curious case, but I have much more problems with Natasha Denona darker mattes with such scenario than it is here. So the lighter shades losing a little bit of its intensity are not the biggest problem for me. But darker shades, however, unforgettable and unforgivable. So now we're ready for our shimmers. The first one I'm gonna dig into is Abyssal Frost. Abyssal Frost is like kind of the sparse sparkles that are colored as well. It's very deep sea magic kind of, and I'm placing it to the inner corner and just dragging into the crease. This is gonna stay under the brow in the crease area. It has a stronger base, so you have to take it into consideration, but it kind of looks good in this inner corner, even though I overdrawn it in here. Then I'm gonna take the shade Twilight Hex. This is our multi-chrome in this case, and I'm gonna apply it to the center of the whole lid. This is gonna be my main shade here, and it's like a magic potion, definitely a hex. The best way is to apply with the fingers. It gives a bit more smooth application and it attaches itself a little bit better than with a brush, but you can indeed use the brush as I did here. It's just that I don't really like the very little effect from the brush. The more flat it is, the better it's probably gonna be, but I just like fingers. Fingers are unmatched. And then our last shade that we didn't touch yet is called Dark Enchantress. This is a sparse shimmer dark blue, and I'm gonna apply it to the bottom lid. This is like my typical application, nothing changes. This is very easy. This is something that is not very complicated at all, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I only need to work through my lash lines on both eyes actually, and after that I think I will come back to you with the finished face. So this is the final look. I feel myself a bit like a hole from the moving castle. I don't know why, maybe because of the earrings. This is a serpent earrings, I believe, from the Punk Youth that I bought. I kind of like it, just a little serpent, something for serpent. I don't remember, unfortunately, but that's the look. And we have a multi-chrome as the main shade today, and we have a very interesting blurples. Blurples are one of my favorite things to work with. And also I have the liner in gold, which is a Jackpot Jinx by Kaleidos. I wanted to have something in contrast to this dark blurples, purples and blues. The cat is sleeping right there. And I used this, and this gives me a strong feeling of Bella Ocean Jewel, because the shades are very much in that direction. And if you wanted Bella but don't want to struggle with the formula, because that formula is a bit of a struggle compared to how easy everything was here, and you just need a little yellow from the other palette maybe, and then you can get pretty much similar looks. Similar, but not the same. So the vibe is gonna be similar. But yeah, the shimmers are very different in these terms, and this is also in price, reflected in price. So that's what I have. That's what I got. I think the makeup looks wonderful. I love these blues. They work nicely. I did not have any problems that was blending normally. The only thing I can tell is that if you want to blend two shades together really, really nicely, it's better to use the natural bristles. The synthetic is not that easy to work with sometimes, and you will have to have a bit more effort. Yeah, you need to put a bit more work, it will be a bit more effort. But other than that, I think it's okay. They both work normally with, like, I worked with a bunch of synthetic brushes as on par with the natural brushes, so it was totally fine. Nothing out of the ordinary, I would say. So, this is where we are. This is what we have. That's what we discussed today. And I wanted to shortly tell what else I have on my face. The Tarte Shape Tape concealers, as usual, this doesn't really change. Then I have the Sephora contour stick. I have the blushes from the Soul Main collection, the Pink Bloom that I've been using all the time. On my lips today I have the Burgundy Tawny Rose and Dusty Burgundy, so both are also Oden's Eye glosses in the center. They're slowly disappearing, especially when I speak, and they just kind of just get vanished, you know, get sucked into the skin, the surface of the lips, and that's normal for glosses. This is nothing out of the ordinary. But for the highlighter, let me tell you a story. I'm gonna be out of my way a bit with this story, but so I received the launch, right? And Oden's Eye wrote to me asking what I think, what I think, what it is, how it is for me. And I was like, actually, so far I've touched them in product videos and it seems pretty nice. But I wanted to compare it to the Eternal Twilight palette, which they belong to as a collection. So Luminous Shadow is a collection right now. This is an addition to that collection. And I don't have the Eternal Twilight palette, which is the first big palette, I think, the double-sided that they had. And they were like, well, if you want it and need it, we can send it to you. And I'm like, there is a meme with I don't know, it's like a gremlin. And she's like, give it to me. So I was like, okay, give it to me. And they delivered. So I've got the Eternal Twilight palette, which we will compare things to. Not in swatches, unfortunately, because I still want to touch it properly. Like, I don't like the inappropriate touches. And they also sent me the missing pieces. I did not expect that, but they sent me the missing pieces in the blush and highlighters of this collection as well. So I'm really thankful for that, because I like the design of this collection a lot. This is like just like coins, and I love this coin design from both of the Soul Mane that they had and this collection. It's just very pretty to look at, and I also had them on display there on top where I have Oden's Eye standing, and I had on display, like on the coin display actually. So I like this design, and I only bought 2 when the collection was released because I didn't have money at the time, and I only took the ones that I thought will be used. So I took the Subtle Radiance, which you have seen already, and the Glow Powder, which is a double blush. So it was separated in the center with this top layer, but then it kind of disappeared. It actually has this 2 sparkles that go from the bluish to yellow. So the sparkles are actually duochroming, but the blush shade is this. I did not use it today, but I had it in one of the looks. And I also had this Subtle Radiance because it's more of a silver highlighter, and I thought that I will get more use out of it. So this is a silver green, like it goes to something minty, and I just bought this. And then they also yesterday, like yesterday, I got the other package. And so today on me I have the Gentle Firefly from that collection. Gentle Firefly is almost the perfect match to this multichrome because it has purple. You can see the purple here as well, and it goes to green. Both of them go to green, and not exactly the same green, but they do go to green. The highlighter is a bit more subtle and the multichrome is a bit more strong. Also the base is different here, but this is almost perfect match. If you love the purple to green shades, this highlighter is something also that you can think about. It also has a bit of a peachy, so it's a multichrome, and it's more glittery. So on me it's also, you can see it's not like a smooth luminous stuff, it's more glittery, and if you love this kind of effect, you may actually like this. If not, then don't bother. Anyway, I got this and I used this. I also got the Dim Glow. Dim Glow is another one that looks like this. It's a yellow to blue. So blue, very bright blue, and yellow. So I think I may use it in some of the looks because it looks very pretty. And you can see also in the mirror that it's duochroming. There's also green somewhere, something else. So they are generally very interesting. And then I have 2 blushes in my possession now. Radiant Flame, which is super bright blushes. I'm actually a bit afraid of them. This one is Radiant Flame, so it's hot pink as a blush. I think I didn't have anything like that because they are very pigmented. I'm just a bit afraid of that. And then we have the Luminous Heat, which is hot peach, hot orange, something like that. So, a very pretty guy actually. It's one of the gods. So, yes, this is the situation. And this is also Eternal Twilight palette that belongs to this collection, and it was also gifted to me in scope of this because I wanted to compare to and to show you the differences. It's much easier to show the differences at least that way. If not on swatches, then at least that way. So let's talk about these two. They come in the sleeves. So the sleeves are also like this. It's a soft touch. The information is repeated. It also says 16 grams, I believe. So 16 grams per palette for 15 shades. This is like 1.1, less than 1, approximately 1 gram per refill, which is not too much, but it's also not that bad because generally it's not that bad. $34.99 in dollars the price for them, so I count it as 35 bucks per piece, and I think you can get a discount. I don't have the discount with Oden's, but you can search for any other. There are plenty available, for example the Angelika Nyquist, the Agnieszka is the one to use, and yeah, the Mystic Gleam and Luminous Shadows, 35 per palette, which is great because the previous launches with singles were almost 100 per palette. When you think about the singles by themselves, it's okay maybe, but when you want a collection and it costs so much, I cannot justify the price, honestly. And this was one of the reasons why I did not do the full video on Heather Austin collection. I did only one look with it. I hated how some of the shades behave when blending specifically. Like, nothing wrong with the color themselves, but the formula, I just didn't like the formula in there, and I did not like the work, so I decided not to do the video. However, here the situation is a bit different, very different to be honest, and that's why we are in this video finally. So let's talk about the first one. And yeah, as well, you have the two guys, two gods. Here we have the face, and here we have the profiles. If you like some men on your packaging, I think it actually looks decent. So one is a dark, one is a light, and that's exactly what we have here. One is a light, one is a dark. Luminous Shadows, the naming is a bit, but okay. Luminous and Shadows palette is our pastel-y palette. On the promo photo, when they first showed it as a promo to show to influencers or reviewers, I was like, maybe not so much. But actually, when I started touching it for the product video, and then when I started also working with it, so I decided to work with it in the makeup in this format for YouTube, just because when I touched and swatched it, it was okay. The mattes behaved normally, and the shimmers were not crazy oily. So I was like, well, that is something different. It's worth inspecting further, and this is why we are here. So the mattes here are wonderful. This is the beloved formula of why Oden's Eye initially get so much track. They got so much track. This is very easy to blend and work with shimmer mattes, and quite nice shimmers. We have some formulas that can give you a bit of a trouble when you apply too much of it, but if you apply it as a sparse sparkles, it's great. Like, nothing special, but looking good. We also have one multi-chrome in here. I think we also have one duochrome approximately, but I cannot pinpoint exactly. So in the refills, they look a bit more boring than they are, but this palette has logic. I was missing this for such a long time. For like a couple years I've been missing the logic in some of the palettes by the brand. Now I see it. Now I can confidently say that we have something to lighten with, even two of them, something to darken with, even two of them, and we have a medium shades. This is all you actually need to create a look. You need a darker shade, you need a medium shade, and you need a light shade, generally speaking. We also have quite a clear color story. First of all, they all work together through one to another. So from the purple warms, you can go to the oranges, because it goes through pink, red, but sometimes you can skip some of the shades and you have like opportunity to go from the warmer pink into something like this, except these are a bit kind of in the same level, on the same level of depth for me. But anyway, we have beige and brown, we have two purples, we have two other purples. So these are cool purples, these are warm purples, and we have orange with the yellow. So you have these four, and you have like quads basically to work with. Totally fine, totally normal. There is logic. There is a self-sufficiency in this palette because you can have something to light up and darken up. You don't need another palette to make it work. So if you love these colors, for 35 bucks, even less with the code, it's not bad. It's like a good average for me. This was what I expected Oden's to be. And now let's see how it matches the other palette. So we have a big palette that was released like 2 years ago, maybe 2024 somewhere. So we have this side. When I first saw this palette, I really wanted to buy it, but I couldn't at the time. And I thought that I love this color story a lot, but this one was incomplete for me. And it is in fact incomplete because you don't have a very light shade here, and you don't have a very dark shade here. Of course you can use it from the other side, it's not a problem, but the difference in tone also can prevent you from enjoying it to the maximum. So let's see. I'm gonna cover the one side. I think of it as an extension. First of all, there are no direct dupes, let's say it like that. Also, the bigger palette has a pink, for example, has more oranges in general. They also have something beigey and something milk chocolate kind of. Here we have peachy beige and darker shade, also darker purple. So you have something to actually darken things up. Here it is not, but if you can see it as an extension of each other. So this is like a work with mistakes, basically. So they worked with mistakes on this color story, and this is what you got, and it's so much better in my vision. So as a person who really loves logic in things, and I like to have specific color grading, let's say it like that, like color story should have a meaning for me. This color story have a meaning for me. This color story is incomplete. That's why I also hesitated at first. So this one is very like bright orange pink, but this one is a complete. If you want only one of them and you like these colors, this one will give you more than this, in my opinion. But you can see how they are compared to each other. Next to each other, I think they are actually extending one another instead of duping. But I still like this more, just because it's more logical. So you have a lot of shimmers that are like colored sparkles. You have 3 specific formulas. One is being very soft marbly one. Then you have a bit of a crumbly formula, and you have a super smooth like this multi-chrome formula. Multi-chrome is also very bright. I did not find any problematic things with it. So this palette is decent. This is like normal quality palette that you can work with. If you like the shades, this is good. Now let's move on to the next one. Also they are soft touch. Soft touch is also nice. This one is the palette that initially caught my attention. I thought that is like a peacock feather kind of palette, and it also has the same logic, which I appreciate actually. We have a lightening, we have darkening in this case, and we also have like pairs. So this one is beige and olive green, then you have this leafy green, and this actually nocturnal abyss. This one is dark teal. Teal is a mix of green and blue, so you have something to mix things with. Then you have a gray and a darker gray. This is black, more like not black, but something in the black direction, very blackened shade, and the gray one. Then you have 2 of these. So this one is a blue, and this one is a kind of a purple blue. So it's a purple with a bit of blue, blurple, as it's called sometimes. And all of them also work through a color wheel mixing into each other. So you can go from beige to green, green to blue to purple. You can also go beige to gray. So you have neutral versions and you have more colored versions. So if you love purples and blues and greens, this might be something for you instead of the other one, because the quality, as I said, is pretty good in this one. You also have the same story as in the other one with the formulas. So we have our multi-chrome as a purple here. It's on me today with the green shift. Then you have the crumbly shade. This is also kind of a bit crumbly shade. We have marble shade. Marble shade produces a multicolored sparkles, basically. Then you have very smooth shade by the touch that produces a lot of sparkles. The downside is that you probably will be getting the crust, not the crust, but like the residue basically from the finger oil that you will need to remove with the tape. That's the only downside. But it has logic, it has nice colors. If you wanted something from Oden's Eye, maybe this is worth buying, because also it's not that expensive as the other releases. It has logic, it's looking good, it's easy to work with. So this is the launch I can actually say that did not disappoint me. Let's compare it with the other palette as usual. So we have our big guy here. And since it's the same god, we have the same vibe in here. As you can see, once again, they are not exactly duping each other. We have gray, but we have slightly purple gray, and we have neutral gray here. We have dark black here, and we have the purple, dark purple here. So this side of the palette, of the big palette, is actually also a bit better for me, because it has a bit of lighter shades, medium shades, and the darkening. So the only darkening is these two. This one is also kind of medium to me, but this one should be dark enough. So this is the only one that's supposed to work for both palettes. That's why it's less logical to me than the smaller ones, the new launch. So this one also contains kind of similar vibes, similar colors, but they are not exactly dupes. So I think, once again, they are kind of extending each other rather than competing. This one and this one are both duochroming, but a bit differently. So this one is very purple. This one doesn't duochrome into such a purple. This is just a kind of a blue sparkle, very dark ones as well. And this is also multi-chrome green, and this is just green. So it's a bit, yeah, just a little bit of greenery and nothing like that. Then you also may think that this one and this one are very similar to each other, but in fact, this one I think is a duochroming one instead, and this one is not. So there is a difference, but there is also similarity. So if you choose only one, I would probably take out of the schemas, let's say, then this one is probably better, because it's more self-sufficient to me than the other one. But if you like both, that's up to you what you're gonna take, because I think formula here is also the same as, like, it's a re-release, and I think the formula is gonna be the same as with these ones. And honestly, the whole situation that Oden's Eye has been in for the past, like, it was kind of a decline. It was very sad to see, because initially I really liked the brand, and yeah, this is a resurrection of some goodness and some hope, basically, in this scenario. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think it was a wonderful launch, and the price is okay for me. Like, I would have bought this palette if I didn't have it. Like, genuinely, I think it's a good palette. It's really easy to work. It's quite decent in quality, in pigmentation, in everything. So if you are thinking about something like that, if you are thinking to try, maybe, the new launches are okay. Like, they are totally fine. It's safe to buy. Either you want any of them or not. That's up to you. If you want to buy, if you don't want to buy, that's completely your decision. I'm just showing and trying to explain what exactly happens. They are in themselves a bit different in design, and this format is also different from the other 15 shades palettes, because they have a bigger gaps in between shades. So these palettes have just generally a bit bigger gap than the others that they had, and also it's a soft touch, so they're like a bit squishy, but not too much, but just a little bit. So overall, I was pretty happy with both of them. Let's have a look on the makeup that I've created for both, and this was quite a long video still, but I'm happy that I actually was able to do that because the main idea for me is to have fun and to have some pleasure working with the shades. So in this scenario, in this case, I actually got some joy working with stuff. It was blending normally, it was applying normally, don't have any creasing or anything, like no problems at all, and I'm genuinely happy about that. So this is a bit of a resurrection of the trust for the brand as well, so I think it's good launch. I'm really happy that they returned back to their original like essence basically, and yeah, that's just what I think. So, what do you think? How do you like this? What do you think of the launch? What do you think of this video and the looks that I've created with the palettes? As I said, there are a couple of color stories in each of them, and they are pretty distinctive and pretty good to work with. Either you want to recreate some of the looks, or you want to get inspired, or you wanted to get some information about all of that. I'm happy to just provide this info. I don't really care about the sales and stuff because like doesn't matter to me. That's not my goal or anything. I don't have a code. I don't have anything really that I'm getting from this except explaining things. I really love to understand the product. So if you are like me, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making this video. And we will see each other very, very soon in the new video. And until then, bye.